kind of get on the highway now and stretch our legs a little bit, gingerly and gently. I'm not real used to this car, and we don't know exactly what we have yet. But we'll see if she'll roll. Yeah, I can just stick it in the notch and hold it there, and it drops in after a second. Third gear, 50 mile an hour, about 200 amps. We'll go to fourth. We're showing 56, 57 mile an hour. 100 amps. Our controller temperatures. I have a C-temp controller. It's at 102 degrees Fahrenheit. My IGBTs are at 98 degrees Fahrenheit, but I'm only doing 110 amps. We're in fourth gear. Trucking down the road at 58. Battery amps. We're going up a hill here. That should get me a little temperature, I would think. IGBTs are at 102. C-temp is at 107. I think our cooling system is working superbly. Designed and probably with a little bit of overkill. That Durali heat exchanger is really quite beyond what's needed for controller heating, but overkill is often appropriate. Up a hill, 60 mile an hour, and we're floating along pretty good. Cresting the hill, I've got 104 degrees IGBT temp. My integrated bipolar transistors at 104. My controller's at 113 degrees. Ryan said he starts to do something at 55C, or maybe it was 137 degrees Fahrenheit. He starts limiting current. 300 motor amps, 200 battery amps, and 100 on the thing. And what that means is that I have got the wrong number of pulses set on the Shiba, either the Shiba or the tachometer. Right now I'm showing right at 100 amps on the speedometer, and I have 229 amps on the motor and 219 amps on the battery. And so what that indicates to me is this is showing me about half of my current right now. And that's a function we have to set on the Ziva, which is the number of pulses per second, or pulses per revolution. And the tachometer, and we have to coordinate that with our magnetic pickup on the front of the motor, so that both our RPM and our current readings are in the right ballpark. So we're showing right at half the amount of current we're actually doing. So we're going down the road at about 200 amperes, and that is battery amperes, and that's a pretty healthy draw at 225 volts. And by the way, I have that figure here. Our battery voltage is 217 at the moment. So we do have a bit of sag from our 230 volts, but not an alarming amount. 200 amperes is about 1C. We shouldn't see a very alarming amount. We'll take this over to Sling Blade, put it on the dynamometer. Things will get a little bit more frightening. Right now I'm wanting to test the run on the car a bit, see what we've got going here, make sure no pieces fall off, make sure our controller's operating okay, and at that point we'll take it over Sling Blade Racing in Illinois, put this thing on the dynamometer, and see what George's 11HV and Ryan's Work Drive Industrial can do in real time. That'll be fun. Maybe next week. Right now I'm trying to get some range estimations going by driving the car, comparing the actual miles and actual amp hours soon, and see what we're going to be looking at. But that's kind of glommed up right now with our alignment issues. Front end is still not properly aligned. The rear end now is at least square to the car, and so we're hoping that can be made to come together. I'm doing 59 miles per hour, showing 100 amps, that means 200. Controller temperature is 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Now this is actually something you don't think about. Everyone focuses on acceleration. The hard part for these controllers and motors is not making a lot of power for 10 seconds. The problem is when they have to make a medium amount of power for an hour on the freeway. Temperatures start to climb, and it gets to be kind of hard work because they're not getting a cooling off period. And that's an issue. And that's one of the reasons a lot of playing around with overkill cooling. I've got a 434 cubic foot per minute blower into our air-cooled motor, and a Summit Racing style cooling system using billet aluminum fittings, A&8 hose, and a professional racing, really, Duralgi heat exchanger that's like a small radiator with a fan, and that should keep me fairly cool.